Glad to have you back. It's still Business Daily right here on Trust Television. That report there by Shamunda Beng there did highlight the pains and feelings of Nigeria right now. But we are actually looking at a very special topic today, I would say, the role of NOA, of course, in economic reforms and development. How far have they been able to communicate government policies and programs to Nigerians? Of course, I have joining me in the studio Assistant Director of Press, National Orientation Agency, Mr. Paul Odenyi. Glad to have you here.
Thank you very much, Yusuf, and good morning, viewers.
Thank you so much. You have a very big task on your hand right now.
Yeah.
You need to convince Nigerians why they should accept some of these government policies. How far have you gone with that, in that regard?
You know, Nigerians are not, Nigerians are rational human beings. So all you need to do is just to remind them, guide them in the right traction, and they will get to understand. At the moment, the new government has initiated a few programs on the economic sector, among which is the fuel removal, the fuel subsidy removal. Yes, initially we thought it was something that Nigeria would not accept, but gradually, because of the reality on ground, people are beginning to accept it. I can tell you that immediately that policy was announced on Inauguration Day by President Tinubu, the agency got down to work. And as I'm talking to you, all the state directors of the agency have launched a sensitization program on fuel subsidy removal. What it seeks to achieve is this: explain to people at the grassroots what it means. Because a lot of times you will hear about fuel subsidy. It looks as if it is an urban thing. No. Yes, there are going to be consequences. Transport fares will increase, food prices will go up. But for how long have we been talking about the problem of subsidy? Why don't we just get done with that matter, so that as other issues come up, we handle them within the context of what we have? As I'm talking, if you understand the way NOA works, at the national level, the headquarters will initiate policies and programs. Then at the state level, that is where, and the local government level, where we have officers, the people we call community orientation and mobilization officers. That is where they go down to the grassroots to explain what that federal government policy is all about. In fact, one of the key mandates of the agency is to communicate government policies, programs, and activities.
Absolutely. Just to chip in there,
yes.
Are you involved in the formulation of some of these policies? As an agency that deal directly with the people, are you involved in a way government formulate policies and programs?
Not as much as coming to sit down on the table at the point of
negotiation,
discussion. But sometimes agencies of government communicate to the NOA about what they have, the policies they have initiated, and then try to help ask us to help them market it to the people. The one of the first subsidy removal, like all Nigerians, we were all watching the inauguration, and the president announced it. So we do not need a special letter to say do this. But in any case, the Director General of the agency, Dr. Garba Abare, interprets the mandate of the agency that it does not need too much letter, too much meetings and all that. All he needs to do is, he wants the NOA officers to understand the issues before they can go to the people to explain what is going on and what are we doing at the moment. We're organizing town hall meetings at the communities. We're meeting with traditional rulers. We're meeting with religious leaders. We are doing going to the markets and explaining. We are distributing leaflets at the community levels. In fact, I was By coincidence, I was in Akure a week ago to do another program on child labor when the Ondo State Directorate launched the first subsidy removal campaign.
Interesting. What will you tell a man who was paying, let's say, 200 or 300 naira for transport fare, suddenly he has to pay maybe 1,000 or 900 naira for the same transportation? What will you tell him that subsidy removal? How will you explain to him that subsidy removal is actually good for the economy?
In terms of revenue, what we are trying to do is to maximize revenue, and then to reduce the amount of wastages and corruption within the oil sector, which is actually the mainstay of our revenue base. So what is not about what the ordinary person. We know that even the government said it is going to be a huge problem for the ordinary person, but it's going to be a temporary problem that will be solved over time. One example we always give is the problem of telephone. We all know that less than 10% of Nigerians had telephones before 2001. Today, people have 4 cards. People, I can just go out there and call anybody I want to in any part of the world. So we think that over time, based on competition, the price of some of this will begin to come down, and we'll begin to see the benefits of the policy. Don't forget that government is already talking of licensing more marketers to import. And if you are an importer of fuel, what it means is that you look for all over the world where it is cheapest and you import, and then you compete with those who import from where it is very expensive. And at the end of the day, we still have, even at today now, we are beginning to hear a lot of that some people are bringing down to by 2 kobo. Even in Abuja, people are buying 540, some people are buying 537, some people are buying 538. So this is essentially a market-driven policy, and we must allow this process to reach the end, and we say, okay, if there need to be an adjustment, it is because we have tested it. At the moment, we have not said to have tested it in a way that we can say it did not work. Please, Nigerians, let us be a bit patient. I guess things will work.
But some have also said that this will trigger unemployment, that more people may likely lose their jobs. Some may even quit willingly for the inability of some of them to get to workplaces. So what will you explain to that segment of Nigerians?
If you decide to leave, yes, of course, people are talking about the minimum wage not being enough and all that. But like I said, it is something that we need to give some time to mature before we can say that it is a policy that's not working. In most parts of the world, and you see, like some people in government said, you cannot be subsidizing petrol in Nigeria, and then every other parts of our sub-region we need to get cheap fuel. Now, all of us are in it. Do you understand? So we need to tell our people that it is not a policy that was designed to punish them. It is a merely economic policy that are intended to solve certain issues and produce results eventually.
Indeed, very, very good submission there. Let's look at the confidence of Nigeria in government. Over time, there have been promises. Now, this government has promised palliative for Nigerians. Over time, we know how some of these palliatives usually, ended up. Now, again, this one, the subsidy is gone, and we're expecting palliative to come in. What is the confidence? How are Nigerians reacting? Are they really confident that this palliative will get to them? If you recall what we had during the COVID-19 cases.
Nigeria are actually expecting those palliatives. I think the issue is when is it coming, not whether are they confident that government. We want it. Nigerians want it. I'm also a Nigerian, So we want, every Nigerian wants the palliative. In terms of mass transportation, in terms of more input for farmers, in terms of all these kind of social interventions that will make people feel less of the consequences of the adjustment in fuel price. Don't forget also that when we talk about adjustment of the subsidy, the removal of subsidy in fuel, for a long time, we have removed subsidy in gas. That's why gas is used to, and we have also removed from diesel. We have removed from gas. We have removed from kerosene. As a last month, the price of gas has started dropping marginally. It may not be that much, but at least it has come down from 980 for 9,800 for 12.5 kg to about 820. Some people even sell less than 8,000. So my projection is that over time these things will begin to react to the principle of demand and supply.
Indeed. How will you describe the resilience of Nigerians to some of these difficulties they are actually facing?
No, you see, if you see the way Nigerians are, the way they excel in everything they do when the conditions are correct, you know that it is just what we need is just to get the policy that will trigger the kind of economic activities. I still go back to the issue of telephone. We can count the number of businesses that have risen because of the deregulation of the telephone market. People are charging phone, people are buying many brands of telephones, and then you can even so I think that, and that's an economic activity that Nigerians are participating in. I think that Nigerians are a very resilient country. We're very industrious people in spite of all the distance. All we need to do is for us, I'm sure when many people are just watching this program, watching this policy to know how it's going, and some people are also looking at the investment part of it, positioning themselves for the investment part of it. Nigerians are wonderful people. All we need to do is for them in this particular case to understand and work with government. I think this policy will eventually.
There's the last point before we wrap up is the issue of sacrifice.
Okay.
The government in power have always told Nigerians to make sacrifices.
Yes.
And I'm sure a lot of us have been doing that for a very, very long time. Now they've told us again to wait, endure, make some sacrifices in the interest of the nation. But the people in power, how sacrificial are they themselves?
See, people in power, they are not, I don't think they are animals. They are human beings. Many of them, in fact, many people in Nigeria run charity organizations. Many people understand that in our society we need to help each. In fact, as our culture and tradition require that those who have try to help those who do not have. So even in NOA now, we have just. Do
they make sacrifice, for example, by reducing their own wages, income, by cutting down on their convoys, by cutting down on their,
don't forget
expenditures
forget that there was a fake news.
These are some issues that it's difficult to communicate to Nigerians.
No, don't forget that there was a fake news that went out the other time that the National Revenue and Mobilization Commission has increased and it took the government to say no such things have been approved by the government.
But there was a recommendation.
No, that was, yes, there was a recommendation, but government has accepted it and not even approved it. Did you understand?
Yeah.
So it is not as if people in government are all animals who don't understand what is good. No. I think as individuals, and some of us, even as Nigerians, as individuals, even as you work here now, you understand what you need to do to make this system work properly. If sometimes they don't give you money, but you come to work.
Absolutely. Mr. Paul Odenyi, Assistant Director of Press, National Orientation Agency, I must thank you for your time on Business Day.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate your comment.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and with that is a wrap on the show today. Join us on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Yusuf Akogu.